Welcome to Well Fucked Wife, the podcast. I am Dr. Chelsea Page, licensed sex and relationship therapist, international sex mentor, and expert, helping you become healthy, wealthy, well loved, and well fucked. Before we dive in, I want to officially invite you to Pleasure and Prosecco, a delicious online party where we are gathering together women across the world to celebrate who we are, our well fucked wife journey, and to unveil the newly updated Well Fucked Wives Club. I hope you come and join us for all the pleasure vibes happening this February 11th. RSVP with the link below. I hope to see you there. Hello, gorgeous ladies. I want to talk to you about celebration vibes, which is such an important thing as we are embodying deeper into the well fucked wife vibes, as we are evolving and expanding and deepening and all of the delicious pieces. Is we have to make sure that we balance stepping forward with celebration. And I was sitting here after a delicious weekend helping a couple with their private intimacy retreat and all the luxurious vibes, not only in wealth and money, but luxurious vibes in love, because we deserve to be wealthy in all the ways. When I say like be healthy, wealthy, well loved, and well fucked, that piece of like the wealth piece is, yeah, I want to be fucking wealthy, and I want all you women to be fucking wealthy too when it comes to the dollar bills, y'all. But also, we want to be wealthy in love and wealthy in pleasure and wealthy in all the ways of abundance, so much abundance. And one of the places that so many of us women, especially when we look into femininity and paired with a lot of us who like to really fiercely hold on to our independence, is we forget often to celebrate ourselves. I'm thinking of, oh my gosh, what is that show? When she's like, treat yourself. Is it Community? I think it's Community. It's like, treat yourself. It's like, celebrate yourself. So I'm sitting here after this delicious weekend where phenomenally transformed this couple's relationship that was feeling nearly sexless, struggling with sex, like feeling all destabilized, and having that be transformed in a matter of 2 days. And also, just for me, going into this place of helicoptering into massive amounts of financial wealth, which, like, we did our celebration dinner. Like, this couple picked me up in their like fucking Rolls Royce and we went to dinner at the Ritz. Like, it was so amazing. And that was the celebration dinner. It's like, let's celebrate. And I told the couple that celebration, it's, I often have said in the past, celebration is the climax of self-love. And it's celebration is the climax of love. And what I told them too is sex is meant to be a celebration of love. So when we apply this whole phrase, right, celebration is the climax of love, it's like, okay, when we are climaxing, when we're in the celebration vibes, when we are in, even when we apply this to sex, when we're in the sex vibes, that's meant to be a celebration of the love, of the connection, where a lot of us women get caught that we're actually reaching to sex to satisfy safety, reaching to sex for validation. It's we're using sex. And we don't want to use sex. We want it to be a celebration, right? I almost like I'm thinking of climax as like this like firecracker. Like the fucking 4th of July. We want to have like climax celebration, and it gets to be all the different ways. This is actually reminding me of when I was really getting caught up on what celebration means to me. I remember this like years ago because I would see a lot of people, especially for those in the coaching online entrepreneur space. You could see there's a lot of coaches would get into like huge celebrations like balloons and champagne and, take these balloon pictures and like all these celebration vibes, but I often wondered if some of that wasn't performative, like performative celebration, almost like, like in pornography, like climaxes, you're like, uh-huh, okay. Like that's not real. That is totally performative. We also don't want to have performative celebrations. And that celebration is to try to get something. It's like, oh, I need to celebrate to try to get that validation, try to get that recognition, try to feel like enough in the eyes of others. So, anyways, with the celebration vibes, is like I feel like I'm more of like a celebration gal. Like sometimes I'm going to be like, woo, like really big celebration vibes, but majority of the time, oh my gosh, of course I look down and the time said 444. Fours have been following me around like fucking everywhere. I love it. So I most of the time, like my celebration vibes is this, it's like this internal experience that does overflow outwards, but I don't push it outwards. So it can often be like, just like, yay. Like I can even feel it right now. It's just like and that gives me chills, like in my body. And it will overflow out, but it's not like really big. It's almost like I feel like I'm like a sparkler and not like some huge fucking firecracker in the sky. And you might be like a huge fucking fat firecracker in the sky. Like your celebration vibes might be kind of like when we had that conversation before around our sexual selves being sometimes like this equivalent of like more of an introvert versus an extrovert. And our celebration vibes can be that way as well because our celebration comes from our feminine self, our feminine energy. It's like, yay, like I'm feeling full of myself. I'm feeling this like I am worthy of like recognition. I am worthy of celebration. I am worthy. I am enough. I get to celebrate myself. And that's coming from that feminine energy. And when we're in our wounded energy around it, it's, say we're doing a bunch of things and it's like, well, that's not enough. I need to do more. I need to do more. I need to do more. And I'm not allowed to celebrate myself yet. And sometimes we can get in that trap if we're using deprivation of celebration to motivate us to actually be moving forward, when actually what we want is to allow the celebration vibes to be part of the energy that moves us forward, which means we're allowing love to move us forward because celebration, climax of love, it's the climax of self love. And are we allowing ourselves to anchor that in? And what's interesting, the couple that I worked with this weekend is one of the things that I was pointing out to the wife is, and this is something that really caught me off too in my own marriage, is I I would celebrate myself, but I wasn't allowing myself to celebrate my husband unless he did the big thing. So it's almost like a marathon. Like, okay, I'm not going to celebrate you until you cross that fucking finish line, which is depriving my husband of love, like rude. And what's hard is the anxiousness can come in is because it's like, well, okay, you made this step and this change of growth, but you're not where I want you to be yet. So I'm going to withhold my love. And it sounds really harsh, but this is what happens for a lot of us women. It's like, okay, so let me think of an example. Well, like, for example, like with my husband, like he had been progressively cutting back his drinking, and he actually quit drinking a couple weeks ago. Like he's like done. It's, oh my gosh. The shifts that he's made recently is like fucking phenomenal. That's a whole other story. But the his progression in releasing alcohol and making progression, for longest time, I wouldn't celebrate him on that. Instead, I shamed him. It's like, okay, yeah, but you're not where I think you should be, and not where I think and I know that you know where you should be. And until you actually reach that point, then I'm not going to be happy and I'm not going to celebrate you, which is conditional love. Ouch, like not cool, not fun. And instead, what I remember learning in is, can I lean in present moment because everything exists in the present moment, pleasure lives in the present moment, love lives in the present moment. And so really tuning into even the micro movements that are happening and allowing myself to celebrate him, not just externally to him, but in my own mind. And instead of looking at him in resentment or looking at him in frustration or thinking about him in this anxious vibes, this fear vibes, this, yeah, but what if it never gets to where I want it to be? And instead, it's coming to this trusting place of like, of course, he is moving in the direction that I want him to be because he's moving in the direction that he wants to be because we are moving in the direction of what we want to be because we have agreed as a couple that this is the direction that we are going in. And like for example, this year our together goal is health. And so we like to do kind of our primary together goal that we're working on. And of course, we're going to have different areas. Like it's not that we weren't focusing on like say the wealth side of things or the sexual side of our relationship or anything else. It's like our front runner was the health piece. And so it's trusting that he's going to make those moves on his own time in his own way, and I need to focus on my lane. And if I am to look at him, can I look at him in celebration and as, honest truth motivation, not from shame, not from judgment, not from fear, but, calling him out, but in a loving way, right? It's the tough love. But other than that, it's like I I let him do his thing. Because otherwise, I'm trying to control him. We don't want to control our husband, we want to celebrate our husband. And think of this from a very simplistic way. What do you think is going to help your husband actually grow and expand and want to turn towards you and like fuck you? Do you think he's going to want to fuck you if you're trying to control him and you're nagging at him and you're frustrated at him and you're like stressed out and fearful and like shaming him? No, he's not gonna wanna fuck that energy. Like, you gotta be in the energy that wants to be fucked, that our husband wants to fuck. And this is not about being perfect. This is not about people pleasing. Instead, it's about being in the energy of you as a woman and the energy of the feminine, which is the energy of trust, the energy of feel of love, the energy of pleasure, the energy of celebration. And so it's like, "Oh my gosh, honey, like, I'm so fucking proud of you. Oh my gosh, like, you are kicking ass. Like, holy cow, I am loving seeing how you are showing up. Like, whoa, your masculine energy is, like, turning me the fuck on." Like, really being his biggest cheerleader. And this isn't about, like, treating him like a little child, like, "Yay, good job." It's like actually being in the truth of like, "Wow, like you, this is I'm loving what I am receiving from you." And that's part of that celebration. It's like, "Whoa, what I'm receiving from you is so fucking delicious." So we want to look at the even the micro things that we're seeing that progression of. And so if we go back to that analogy of like the marathon, it's like if your husband's running a marathon, like celebrate him at the half mile, celebrate him at the mile, celebrate him at the 1.2 mile, like celebrate him along the way. And it's you fucking got this. I'm so proud of you, babe. Like, wow, I am like swoonsville of how you're like showing up. And it's like that energy being received from you, he's gonna be like, "Ooh, I want more of that." Like, obviously what I'm doing is working. Like, I want to keep doing this action because it's eliciting this positive response. And that's part of our control, if you will, in the relationship is how we're responding to what our partner is doing. Are we celebrating them? And are we celebrating ourselves? Like, this also infuses that energy. Like, are we celebrating ourselves for what we're doing? So, a big reason I'm bringing this conversation of celebration vibes in here is because of this beautiful weekend. Big moves, not only for me, but for this amazing couple that I supported. And bringing them even in here to you ladies is allowing the celebration to anchor in. So, I even want to do this right now with you, is allowing my body to actually feel the celebration, like, I have exhaustion in my body, like, I landed home, chatted with my husband, I'm now all curled up in bed with my pups, talking to you. Mm. And part of this process is getting in your body. So it's not a mind process, although of course our minds are involved because we're alive, but it's getting into your body. Oh man, that's one of the things I'm celebrating. I showed up this fucking weekend, even though I had a cold. Like, and I'm pretty sure I manifested that because I feel like we manifest our fears to prove ourselves that we can actually move through it. And one of my fears was like, what if I have one of these amazing events, like this retreat and the group retreat I have, the naked mind? Like, what if I'm like sick? And it's like, well, I still fucking did it. And I showed up as me, and I'm celebrating that I showed up as me. Like, even day two, I had this outfit plan that was like this really beautiful outfit. And I'm like, my body is really craving a different outfit of support because I know when I'm supported, I know the couple is going to be supported. So it's like me first. I got to make sure I'm supported first. And so I wore my cute little like cozy sweat outfit. So I'm like, oh my gosh, of course. And it was so me. It was so Chelsea. And I'm celebrating that I showed up as me. And I'm celebrating that I was authentic. I'm celebrating that I was just so naked and who I was. I'm celebrating myself and receiving everything. I'm celebrating my big up levels. I'm celebrating being true to me. I'm celebrating me being me in luxury and in wealth. One of the things I was really nervous about actually was really anchoring in to this world of wealth that I stepped into, like beyond where I am at. And I could feel the fear like peak up a little bit a couple weeks before this retreat, and it was this like feeling of like, uh-oh, I need to make sure that they're happy. Like, uh-oh, I need to prove myself. And then I was like, no, no, girl, like I don't need to do that. They're not paying me to make them happy. Like, yes, of course they want to be happy, but they're not paying me for me to be a people pleaser. They're not paying me to be perfect. They're not paying me to be an overachiever here. They're paying me to be me so I can support them in being them and have an authentic relationship with themselves, which starts with me having an authentic relationship with myself. So I was able to shift in that. It's like, no, I get to be me in wealth. I get to be me in luxury, and that doesn't change. And it's really allowing ourselves that, as we receive more, whether it's wealth, whether it's more love, more sex, more pleasure, even more celebration, is when it all is coming from the inherent truth of our naked self and our naked essence on the inside. It's so fucking powerful. And everything else becomes an amplification of the truth we are intimate with on the inside. Because everything that is on the outside is a projection of what's on the inside. So if we are intimate with truth, that's what we are projecting out in the world. And that's what we want to project out in the world. And I am fucking celebrating that for myself. Mmm, celebration. So I can feel the energy like go all the way down, but only to like my calves. It's not going down into my toesies. Let the celebration reach your toes. Ah, okay, it landed. Let yourself walk with your own love. Let yourself walk with the celebration of yourself anchored in deeply in all corners of yourself. So I want to leave you with this, ladies, is where are you celebrating yourself today? Not just in what you have done, but also in who you be. celebrating yourself for being you. I celebrate myself for being me, the energy of me, the essence of me, the beautiful love that I am and pour out into the world. And of course, the things that I do. We want to celebrate our feminine essence and our masculine essence and see where you can create this acknowledgement of celebration for your husband. And you can tell him if you want to, but even you feeling the vibe of that is going to emanate from your energy and he will feel it. And he's going to be like, whoa, you are looking at me different. Oh, you're feeling different. It's like, yeah, because when we have celebration energy, like radiating and flowing in us like multiple orgasms of celebration, very different than being in fear and in lack and in controlling and anxiety and resentment and frustration. It's a totally different vibe. And if anything, celebration vibes just feel fucking better for us. And then it overflows and benefits our partner, benefits everything. Which reminds me, there was a post I had on Facebook that I said, oh, what was it? It was like, money doesn't want to come to a controlling woman, and neither does a man. So I'll leave you with that. Money wants to come to a celebrating woman. Man wants to come to a celebrating woman, wants to penetrate us. Be the woman that everything that we desire wants to penetrate us. It's like, let me get all up in that energy. Yum. Thank you. So celebrate yourself, ladies. Celebrate yourself. That was delicious. Thank you so much for joining me in today's episode. I would love to invite you to come a little bit closer to drchelseapage.com, where you will find all the goodies for support, including my private coaching and the Well Fucked Wives Club. I will see you in the next episode.